Hi, I'm Paul Lamford, and today we're going to look at the wonderful game of backgammon, a game that's 5,000 years old and was played in Greek and Roman times and even in Mesopotamia. So it's a race game, that's very important to know, and it's played with 4 dice, 2 each, between 2 players. 2 dice of different colours normally to know, so you know which are yours, and 15 checkers arranged in the starting position that we see here. White is going clockwise and red is going anti-clockwise. Red could go clockwise and white could go anti-clockwise. It wouldn't matter, you could swap round. And the starting position is essentially this, where you have 5 here in what's called your home area, your home board, 3 here, 5 here and 2 here. And this setup is sort of unique really. There are variants of the game as there are variants of chess or bridge, but this is the really pure form of the game and the one that you would expect to play if you sat down with a friend or if you ventured to enter a tournament or a club, then you would find this starting position always. So what is the object of the game? Right, it's a race game as I explained, and the object is to move your checkers around the board and take them off into this area here. How do you move them? Well, you roll dice and you move them the number of pips that are shown on the dice. At the start of the game, each player rolls 1 die. So red will roll 1 die here. Well shaken, in cups, no cheating. And the dice comes down with a 5. Okay, white rolls a 2. Okay, so red now has to move, because he's got the higher number, and he has to move one of the pieces 5 and one of them 2. How do you move them? This is quite a standard play. You can't move 5 with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's our first rule. You can't have 2 colours, 2 different colours on the same point. So this is what's called a blocking point, this 5. And the only move that red can do with this one is a 2. And that might well be quite a good play. And with the 5, he can't move this one 5 or this one 5. He doesn't miss the turn. He doesn't have to move the same checker. He can move a different checker or the same checker. Red now has to move a 5 with one of the other checkers. And the standard play is to play them down from this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would be the end of the turn. And that's a standard opening play. And all of the top players would know that this was the standard play and would do it. Okay, so what happens then? Play alternates. So red rolls, and then white rolls, and then red rolls. So it's alternating. And as we said, the object was to move the checkers round and take them off here. Okay, we haven't yet seen a 2-1 for white. Okay, so what white can do with the 2-1, could do 1, 2, and land on the same point here. And a 1. So a 2 and a 1, and that is called a hit, and it hits this checker and it goes onto this middle part here called the bar. So that's an example where there has to only be 1 on the point. You can't hit if there's 2 or more on the point, so none of these other ones can be hit, and that is not probably the best play. It's too early in the game to be hitting this one, and it's only moved 2 anyway, so you wouldn't really gain a lot by sending it back here. But if you did do this, red would then have to play his next turn by starting with this one and moving it either 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Can't go 6 because this is occupied by more than one piece. Instead of that play there, we're going to look at an alternative play for white with the 2-1. And white decides to move this piece 1 here. So that's one pip or 1 square or 1 point, and the 2 decides to come down 1, 2. So we see here this pattern of really a 1 long board rather than 2 segments or 4 segments. It runs round here so that when you go 1, 2, this one comes round and continues on this way, and so the same for red coming round this way. Okay, so this would be a standard starting play for quite good players, and there would be nothing at all wrong with the moves. And then red would move. Let's see whether there's any. Right, red's got a 5-1, not a very good roll. Right, so red could hit something, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but not really very good because this checker hasn't moved yet. So he would only be losing 1 pip by being put back there. So that wouldn't be very good. I think that the 5, we've already established that the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can't go there. And this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can't go there. Right, so you could move the 1 first and then the 5, then that's another possibility. What red decides to go the 1 here and the 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the 1. So we see this jockeying for position. We're trying to bring our pieces around safely. We want to have them on the same points. We want to make new points if we can, as we'll see in a moment. So we'll just play 1 or 2 moves for you to give you the feel of the game. White goes now. And white gets a 6-2. And white decides to come out with the 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These men are the furthest back, so you want to start bringing them round fairly soon in the game. And the 2, 1, 2. Why did we go there? Well, because now we've got a blocking point. There's 2 on the same point. That's an extra point, which is good, and is the aim of the opening, to play blocking points. If you get 6 in a row, the opponent can't jump over them at all. And here, this is a safe blocking point for white, and that these 2 men can't be hit until they move, and it sort of helps the strategy of containing the opponent. So red to go. Red gets a 5-3. And now there's 2 plays that are possible. I think that probably the right play is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, which is making a new point here. Okay? White can't hit. Black hasn't got anything that he can do that's very good. He can go the 3 here, 1, 2, 3, getting his own blocking point. And 5 here. Maybe here, or maybe down here, or maybe here. But all of these leave a loose checker. This one has a bit too many men on the same place, really, with lack of flexibility. And so the wonderful beauty of the game is that on each play, there's usually 4 or 5 legal plays, or maybe as many as 20 or 30 in some cases. And you have to choose between them, and you need to build a sort of strategy of the game up. But at the moment, you're seeing how the game progresses, and you have to move the 2 numbers on the dice, and you have to move them to points that are either vacant or occupied by only one of the opponents. If there's one of the opponents there, you hit it and send it to the bar. So let's play. We'll play this play that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now let's see what white does. Right, white's got a 5-1. Now I think white would probably bring this one to safety. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Getting 2 of these men onto a new point is a big gain for white, because they can't be hit and sent back. And we will come on to, in a minute, somebody will roll a double where the 2 dice are the same, and we can see how that is played. But at some point or other, there's bound to be a double. So that's the 5. We do a 1 to play. And white decides, well, he can't move this one 1. He doesn't want to move this one 1 because there'll be 2 loose, then they could be hit. He could put this one 1 here, but he decides that he'll play this one there, which is best, I think. And that puts this on a possible blocking point. If he doesn't get hit next turn, he probably will be able to make this point. This is one of the important points. It's called the 5 point, and it's a very useful blocking point. It contains backmen, but also it stops your opponent from entering on the 5 or the 6 when they get hit, as we'll see in a minute. So we'll just not explain the strategies too much at this stage we just show the legal level of the play. So 6-5, and not a lot we can do with this one. We don't really want to bring this one out yet because that will leave this one stranded. So we decide to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably the best play in this position at the moment. Okay, white goes 6-5 for white, and white will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, covering this one. So this one now can't be hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks about the best play. I don't see anything else. And there's the position at the moment is we're seeing that white's building a blocking sequence. Not a very effective one, only 3 out of 6 points in a row. And red is making a bit of progress as well. So I think that's probably enough to see. Well, let's wait until we get a double before we move on. 3-2, not a double. Red decides to bring the 3 in here. There's no white checkers back this way, so these are safe at the moment, but they may be hit later on. And red decides to put the 2 here so that he's hoping to make some of these points to make a blocking point, but it's because the white pieces have moved out, it's not as effective. White goes 6-5 again for white, and white decides to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's hope we get a double soon. 6-2, not a double, and red goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So we see a beginning of blocking points here. So all we're doing at the moment is making some plays. Now this is a bit more awkward for red because red's got to play the 6, and he's 2 on this point, 2 on this point, and 2 on this point. And I think that probably the right play is to start running with one of these checkers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it's white to play. White got a 6-2. And I think white's probably going to take a chance here. He plays the 6 here, and he plays the 2 here, and this is an example of checker being hit. And now the fact that white's got 6s, 5s, and 2s occupied shows the point of making the points in this home area, because now red has to get a 1, a 3, or a 4 to come in. You always have to move this checker that's on the bar first, and then the other half of the roll. Right, so red gets a very good roll indeed for red. Red gets the 4, hitting this checker, and decides to go 1, 2, 3. Excellent roll for red. And now we see red's strategy of building the blocking points, in that only a 1 for white would work. Let's see whether white gets that. White doesn't get a 1, so this is where white misses a turn, because he's got to play this one first, and so this can't come in, and he doesn't get to play the number with the other checkers because he has to move this one first. So this is a basic rule, and the point of sending a checker to the bar, and part of the strategy of the game, is that the opponent has to get a number to come in, and this is a very good position for red. As we'll see in a later example, red would double at this point, which would mean that he'd want to play for 2 points rather than 1 point. And probably white would give up, and the game would actually end suddenly. You think, well, that's a bit of a waste. Why can't we play the game through to the end? But that's sort of part of the game, really, the gambling element, where you double the stakes and play for twice as much money, and the opponent has to either accept or give up the original stake. But we'll see there's a doubling cube here, and that is the really very part of the game. It was invented about 1930, I believe, in America, and it adds a great deal of spice to the game. It makes it the wonderful game that it is, because as we can see, it can go up to 64, and I've seen cubes with up to 256 on them in the cupboard. rarely come into use, and usually the person who lost doesn't come back again. So it's, but this is, at the moment, we're not going to really cover the game. We're going to assume that this was just a match to see who wins the game, which there is, what they call 1 point matches, and there's no doubling cube in 1 point matches. And so the game has to continue. So red now will win this game most of the time, but we'll see. Red gets a 6-5 and decides to come out with a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the checker comes round. Now white needs a 1, don't forget still. So each time he rolls, he gets the 1 at last. And that's a good roll. That's the 1. And red now can go 1, 2, 3, hitting this checker. And that checker goes onto the bar. Now red has to get 1, 2, 1, 3 or 4, which should be relatively easy, but about a quarter of the time here, red wouldn't come in, and red would say, unlucky. Not that unlucky. It's always possible for red not to come in at this point. Red gets a 6-5 and doesn't come in. Now if in the cube, because the 6 is here and the 5 is here, and they're both occupied by more than one checker. So the game has suddenly turned around and white is winning now, even though black was winning just now. So white to play. White gets a 5-3. So let us have a look. I think that probably the best thing to do would be to make a new point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. If it's, and now red has to roll. And red can't come in again, a 2 and a 5. So it's definitely very good now for white. White goes. Right, so this one is stranded behind 5 here. So white uses the 6 to come out. And the 3 probably plays safely 1, 2, 3 here. So that one is now safetied, as they say, and red still has to get a 4 or a 1 to come in. Red is probably winning the game maybe 20% of the time. Let's see what happens. That's a good roll for red. Red's got a 1 there, but he can't hit because only a 3 and a 1 would have hit, and he's used that to come in. And now I think the right play is probably to come here, and there's a 1 or a 2 for white will hit him again, but that'll only occur about a little bit more than half the time. White is doing very well now. White hits with a 1, puts the checker on the bar again, and moves 1, 2, 3. So these two are now safe. This is the only one that's vulnerable at the moment to being hit. And the game lasts usually about 15 minutes. Typically one game lasts, but I'm explaining. And red gets a good roll, 1 and a 5. And we'll see the exciting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see it's white that's on the bar now against a 5-point board, and it's red that's winning again. So this game has turned round several times already, but we're beginning to see the excitement of the game and the strategy, and both sides have been building nicely, and both sides have played quite good moves, I think, at this stage. So now it is white to play. White needs a 1 again to come in. Doesn't get it. Now white got a double 3. With a double, which we've been waiting for quite a while, you play this number 4 times. So you play 3, 3, 3, 3. So if red rolled double 3, he would play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 more 3s. So the doubles are very powerful because you play them 4 times. I don't know why that ever came in, but it's probably just to increase the luck element of the game, and the Romans and the Greeks were great gamblers. And so anyway, white can't move with their double 3, so that goes, red goes, and red's got a 3-1, so red will definitely want to get this one back up here. and probably play this one here so that these two can't be hit. Still some chances for white. It's very, and traditionally you always roll on your side of the board, and that's a good roll, a 1. And now white has to take a chance and hits this one with a 4 and hopes that red doesn't get a 1 to hit him back. So red goes, and red gets a 3-2. So the 2 comes here and the 3 comes here, so red can't move. And the usual expression for not being able to move is to dance. I don't know where that came from, but it's sort of, you don't actually do anything, so it's a bit strange to call it a dance. But that's part of the sort of slang or the terms of the game really that have come into the common usage. White goes now. White can play one of the 4s 3 times. 1, 2, 3 to cover this one so that it can't be hit. And one more 4, probably this one here. So we played one of them 4 and 3, and another one 3 4s. We played this one 4 and the other one 3 4s. That's 4 4s altogether. And sometimes people lose track of how many 4s they've played. And I've seen people accidentally play 5 4s or only 3 4s because they're not really paying proper attention. But it's important to get it right. And in a game, you point out if your opponent doesn't make the correct legal play. That's the courtesy of the game. Okay, so now red's to go. Red desperately needs a 4 now. Doesn't get one, so red stays on the bar. White. Right, white will get the 6 out and probably not take a chance on hitting this one. It's a little bit dangerous to do so. I think he probably just comes around to here. So the 6 is out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. Now red to go. Red still needs a 4. No, red can't go. 5 and 3 are both occupied. Only a 4 would have come in. So we have a 4-1. So we hit with the 1. So we get 2 on the bar now. So both of these have to come in before anything else happens. And probably bring a checker around to here, so that there's a chance to hit this one. You'd like to hit this one and put 2 on the bar. Red goes. No, red can't go. Red's having a lot of bad luck here. They've got a 5 and a 6, can't come in. And white gets a double 5, goes 1, 2. Again, I don't think he wants to hit this one because red has got a very strong position. So he decides to play here and here. So that was 4 separate 5s. And that was a very good roll. Red to go. Red gets in with one of them at long last. And then white gets a 6-3. White decides to go 3 here and 6 here. Now if red gets a 4-3, the game could turn around again and red could win. But it's most likely to be a win for white this game. Red can't go with 3-2. White to go. So 3-2 for white. He plays the 2 here. And now it's when we come to this stage where the checkers are borne off. You can only do this when all the 15 checkers are in this board. If there's any checker outside or any checker that goes outside afterwards, you can't do it. Now white can play from this point the 3. So the checker's borne off. So this checker's borne off. He's got one of the checkers off. Okay. Red to go. Red gets in. 4 here, 6 here. No point moving this one down because this one is the one that's furthest away. So now we'll see. Expect white to win this game most of the time. Red gets a 6-4, so he takes the 6 off. He can't take off the 4 because he hasn't got a checker on the 4. But so he moves the 4 from this one to here. You don't have to bear off if you can't, even if you're able to. But you always have to play both numbers if you can. And if you can't play both numbers, you have to play the higher number if you can. If you can't play either number, you don't go. So red to go. Red goes 6-3. Red decides to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one's ready to be blown off. But it's white, as you can see, red's a long way behind in the race. Sorry, red gets double 6. And now we have, white gets double 6, and now we have one loose checker. So now if red hits that one, red will probably be favourite to win. If he doesn't hit it, he'll probably lose, and we might lose a gammon. We'll see what a gammon is if red doesn't hit it. No, he doesn't hit it. So he stays there at the moment and brings 2 in and 3 in. Okay. So white is going to almost certainly win the game. And the question now is whether white gets all of his checkers off. So the 5 is here, and now he hasn't got any on the 4, but he can take from the 3 when he doesn't have any above there. So that's the 4. So he loses a pip, but he still gets a checker off. So red's aim is to get these 2 round here before white gets all of them off. If he doesn't do that, he loses a double game. So 2-1, 1-2. Best we can do. Terrible roll. White is going to probably win a gammon here. Double 2, right. So now we can take 2 off with each of these. That's 2 of them. And now we can't take these off and we can't take off here either. We have to move the 2 from here and here because we didn't have any men on the 2, and we did have men on higher points. So we have to do that. So that's not such a great roll for red. It's going to be quite close here. I think red is probably going to lose a gammon, but we'll see. So we go 5 and 1. And white to go. Double 2, yeah, that's going to guarantee it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and now red's going to go. And red must move this one. If that one's still there when that's born off, then he would lose a triple game called a backgammon. So we're very lucky that we've had both backgammon and gammon explained, and doubles explained, and bearing off explained, all in one go. But now the 4 and the 1, and white wouldn't bother rolling here because every number that he rolls bears off that last checker. And white would thank red for a nice game, and red would say, "You were lucky," or something like that, which is what they always say when they lose a gammon. It was a very exciting game, and we were very fortunate that my rolling there, which was entirely random, produced such an interesting game, and I shall put the game in later to see whether the standard of play was good, because there are computer programs that tell me how well we played. But that explained the very basics of the game to backgammon to you, and I hope you enjoyed it.